Hello there, YouTube. Devin here again. It's my day off, and I've been given some kind of light days because of, health concerns if you watched the last video. But I'm feeling pretty good, and stuff's going rather swimmingly. So, but today I have a video here for you. I'm actually entirely out of powder solvent and gun oil. And I took a trip to the store today to get some more, and then forgot to get it. Ended up getting distracted and buying a bunch of other stuff, but I'm going to do the video here for you anyways. I was going to go through how to disassemble and clean the Vz24, which was a topic of one of my previous videos that covered the history and general overview of these. But without further ado, we're going to get into how to take one of these bad boys apart. Now, most Mauser rifles are going to come apart pretty much exactly the same as this for the most part from the same era. But for this one, all you're going to need to really take it apart, other than like personal preference stuff, is you're going to need a spanner type screwdriver head, as you can see that there, that one. You're going to need one of those for one screw actually, and then the rest you should be able to do with just your regular normal flathead screwdriver. So first thing we're going to do to take this apart, now I'm going to go through this like nobody has ever seen this before, knows what's going on or what's happening and all that. So we're going to, without further ado, get right into it. So first thing we're going to do is, for safety's sake, we are going to open the bolt, make sure it is clear. It is indeed clear, and now we are going to remove the bolt. I'm not going to show you how to take the bolt apart today. That can be the subject of a later video, because the bolt in itself is one of the most complicated parts of the rifle and really needs a video that's a lot closer than this to show you how to take it apart. So but how we remove the bolt on pretty much every Mauser action rifle is, once you draw the bolt all the way back, there is a lever right here, as you see right here in the light. I lift it up and the bolt should come right out. So there's the entire bolt. The rifle is now rendered safe and is ready for disassembly. Now, where we want to start on this rifle is with the front sight hood, which is held in place with this screw. We're just going to undo that screw, and then this whole front sight hood should just slide off the front there. So we'll get right into doing that. Yeah, so I like how a lot of these rifles are super easy to take apart, these old surplus rifles, and you could do it without a manual pretty easy with a little common sense. So make sure you keep that screw. I have a plate here in front of me to keep that a little metal dish. So there's your front sight hood now removed. Okay, and now that we have the front sight removed, we can go ahead and remove the front barrel band here. Now, the front barrel band is held in place by this spring right here. As you can see, that spring has a little detent in it, and we are going to push down on the spring so that that detent goes in, and then we can slide off our front barrel band right there. So there you go, that's taken off. Okay, and then we're going to move on to the second barrel band, which is where you're going to need that spanner screw for, because as you can see, that's not just a flathead screw. That screw has two holes in it. This is where you take your spanner head bolt screwdriver, all right, and you change it out here, so that way you can get a good grip. It's a little hot in here, my hands are a little sweaty, so we're gonna undo that now. Now this screw goes all the way through the fore end, so you may notice that you might need to screw for a little while, and you might need to kind of pull and wiggle at it a little bit, because a lot of times these are bent slightly. They are only threaded right there on the very end, as you can see, right up near the head of the screw. So make sure you keep that in place, and then all you need to do to remove that is slide it off and over the front sight, and there's your second barrel band all removed. Okay, now how you go about removing the front sight, the top handguard, is I like to just elevate the sight all the way. It helps a little bit actually, and it should, just with a little finagling here, slide off. Come on now. Aha. Come on. It's just being a little difficult with me. These are normally fairly tight anyways. There we go. See, just you gotta finagle with it a bit. So there's your top handguard. This is the time where you check your handguard for cracks, splints, if it needs any maintenance done to it. Make sure that your spring clips are in good order, because that's what holds it to the barrel. And now we're gonna go apart and check the bottom part of the rifle. We're gonna disassemble that. Now that is held in place with basically the same thing as the Mosin Nagant. It's really just 2 screws, but in this case it's actually 2 sets of 2 screws, because it uses a smaller screw to hold the larger screw in place. So you have to undo the smaller screw. Oh, change my screwdriver bit back. You have to undo the smaller screw in order to undo the larger screw. Oh. So we got that smaller screw done. Make sure you don't lose track of your parts here. And then we will undo the larger screw on the front of the floor plate right here, as you can see. This is actually a really good safety mechanism because it keeps you from losing these smaller parts. As you can see, this screw has been kind of mangled by the previous owner or previous owners, but the screw has different little facets cut around it to keep it from rotating when another round screw is put next to it. So now that that has been removed, we'll move into the second set. Now the second set is located right here at the back of the trigger guard, and they're offset at a weird angle. So you gotta once again undo the small one before you undo the big one. Now the smaller ones, they don't have as long a threads as the big ones. They're really kind of short, tiny little screws. They are interchangeable with one another. The small ones are anyways. The 2 larger screws with the little recesses on the sides are not interchangeable because one is longer than the other one. As you can see, this is the one that goes into the tang of the rifle, which goes up like this, and the back of the bolt will run over the top of the screw actually. So now that that's all done, we can now separate our barrel and trigger from the lower handguard there, as you can see. Now this one is actually in pretty good shape. I haven't taken this apart yet before. So as you can see, there's not a lot of rust on the barrel. There is a little surface pitting around the chamber, right where the handguard ends, as you can see there. Very minor though. I could sand that out. It's very, very shallow. This rifle's been, for as old as it is, very, very well maintained. This rifle was made in the 30s. Probably the mid-30s. It's a pretty early serial number Romanian contract. It's a DR, and then it's a low number on top of that. It's 399. So that we'll set down now, and we'll check out the magazine well. The magazine well is should drop out now. As you can see, here's the magazine well. Once again, the magazine well is looking quite good for the most part. The floor plate's a little marred up. That's pretty normal considering this rifle probably saw combat. And the follower and spring are in good working order. Lots of tension there. There is, once again, a little surface pitting there though, that I will need to take care of. But other than that, this rifle is in pretty immaculate condition. So, and this is once again time, check your stock, make sure everything's looking good. The wood on this rifle is actually marvelous. There's only a couple dings and scratches, surface stuff, nothing too major. As far as the wood goes on the internals here, it's looking very, very good. There's no splits or anything, no shims. Everything's looking pretty fantastic. There's a little grease up here by the bayonet lug on the nose cap. That's all right. That can be just wiped off because there's a little bit more of it. And then if you wanted to disassemble all the way, you take the 2 screws off that are holding on the butt plate and remove the 2 screws that are holding in the sling swivels, but those really don't need to be removed to do maintenance. you should be okay, unless you're trying to refinish the stock or something. That would be the only time you would really remove those, because these really just need a drop of oil or two to make sure that they're not rusting in the actual swivel part. So now we'll go through the process of putting it all back together again in reverse for you guys. So we'll flip it over and we will put our magazine housing and everything back in place. Drop it in, boop, just like that. Take our barrel, chamber, and trigger and rear sight, and we will drop that back into place. See here, make sure the follower lines up correctly. Rotate the rifle back over, insert the tang screw, screw in the tang screw. So as you can see, that didn't take long at all to field strip this rifle, and this is me really like slowing it down to show you guys everything. It does not take much to deal with these rifles, and you got to think about a time like this where your average person might not have ever handled a rifle before, had to be able to be taught to disassemble this very easily and in a way they could remember and do in the field quite easily as well. A lot of people don't seem to realize that these are really like super simple rifles to do maintenance on, super simple rifles to take care of, and they're made out of very robust parts, very, very durable, very, very well crafted parts that you don't see anymore, unfortunately, in a lot of rifles. You see a lot of plastic, a lot of other stuff. Now, I'm not saying those rifles are bad, but normally they're not going to be as beefy as these old war horses are, and that can kind of give you some issues if you're especially somebody who's a new shooter, who you're worried about, who doesn't know how to take care of a rifle yet, who doesn't know how to do all this proper maintenance, who doesn't know how to do preventive maintenance on a rifle. These are very easy to disassemble. You can very readily find parts for them still, a lot of these old surplus guns, and there's a good amount of them that are in fairly common calibers. Like this rifle is chambered in 7.92 by 57, otherwise known as 8mm Mauser, which is still a very common, popular hunting cartridge. Comes in a wide variety of weights and everything like that, as well as different kinds of tips for different hunting, different kinds of animals and stuff. A lot of people don't realize how effective these old surplus rifles can be as far as just hunting even. So we gotta fight that spring clip here. There we go. Boom. Now we will install the barrel band here again. Make sure you get the swivel on the correct side. When I got this rifle, the swivel was on the incorrect side. And then we will reinsert our cross screw for that. Yeah, I got this rifle and the barrel band was on backwards, the second barrel band. Because my gun store, they do this thing where, because I'm such a frequent customer there, as far as for ammo and just to chat and see if they got anything new. They'll call me a lot to ask some history about some rifles, because they're just a little family-owned shop. They have their own little engraving center and everything like that, and they do custom work for people and stuff along that lines. They don't do a lot of these old surplus rifles, but they understand there's a market for it, so they'll call me if they have any questions on any markings or anything like that. Or one time I got a call for what caliber a rifle was, and it was actually an M95 made by FEG in Budapest. Is a very early one, so they were like, it's 8x56, and I was like, well, this one actually didn't go through the conversion, and it ended up being just regular 8x50 yet, which is even cooler because those are kind of rare, and also a lot better shooting than the 8x56 ones. For all you guys who don't know what 8x56 Steyr feels like, it's kind of painful to shoot that rifle. It's probably one of the most uncomfortable rifles to shoot, just because of how the stock is shaped and everything. But it's a cool piece of history, and I might do a video on one of those here for you too, because I like it. It's actually one of the more historical rifles out there. It's got a lot behind it, a lot of really famous people that designed it. So as you can see here, in a matter of quarter of an hour, so 15 minutes, we were able to fully disassemble and check out this Czech, Romanian Vz24 rifle, and check if it is safe to operate and shoot. And it most indeed is. So here we go, all done, field strip checked out, couple little surface pitting and some little surface rust I need to take care of, but other than that, still probably very accurate, very great rifle that I'm happy to have and I got for a good deal. So thank you for coming along in this journey with me and getting a learning experience and stuff like that. If you guys have any user experiences, knowledge, anything else like that, suggestions for future videos, please drop those in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. Please keep comments on topic to the videos though. We've been getting a lot of that again recently where comments are getting off topic. I mean, I love to hear from you guys and stuff like that. But please, please, please keep comments on topic for the sanity of people who are going through the comments to look for that additional information I might have missed. That way they don't have to just scroll through as much. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.